When you first get into wild camping, it's dead easy to fall into the trap of buying loads of gear. But what kit do you really need? Well, I'm out for a camp tonight, and for this one, I've gone back to basics and brought along what I think are the bare essentials. And I know some people will say you don't need any gear at all to get started, but I think at least for your first few camps, it's important to make sure you've got enough to keep you comfortable so that you enjoy it and want to do it again. So I'm just heading to a permission spot that I've got. It's about 3.5 miles from where I live. So I'm just cutting across a few fields to get there. There is a big stretch of main road that I need to walk up past. So it's not massively exciting, but this should be a nice, simple camp. Like I said, it's minimal gear, minimal pack, minimal weight. All these fields look a little bit different after the heat wave we've just had. It's back to dark, gloomy skies and drizzle now, but it's still 20 degrees. It's really humid as well. It's only going to drop to 17 degrees tonight. So I'm able to bring some real budget stuff. I'm nearly at the main road. So I'll get there and then I can show you all this kit that I've chosen. And yeah, we'll have a nice chilled camp, hopefully. This is actually my first time using this Osprey Stratos 36 rucksack as well. The missus bought it me for Christmas, but since then I've either had to take loads of kit with me because of the weather and it hasn't fit into this 36 litre rucksack, or I've been testing out a rucksack that I've been sent. So it's good to get this one out and break it in a bit. The original plan was to head out into the Peak District for tonight's camp, but with the recent heat wave and everything being so dry, they've asked that people stay away or avoid the open access land in the peaks just for a few days to avoid risk of fire and stuff like that. So that's why I'm heading down to this permission spot. So really one of the first things you're going to need is some sort of rucksack or bag to put everything in. Now I would recommend that you start cheap with your rucksacks. You can pick them up for sort of £20, £25. Try places like Go Outdoors, try supermarkets, Aldi and Lidl, get them in stock from time to time. But you literally just want something that you can fit all of your gear into. And for that reason, you might be better off waiting until you've got the rest of your gear before you buy your bag. So as I said, I brought out my Osprey Stratos 36 just because I know that everything that I've bought tonight is going to fit into it. And like I said, I did want to give this a try out. I haven't used it on a camp yet. Go Outdoors do the Euro Hike Nepal 65. Depending on what day of the week it is, what sales they've got on, ranges from sort of 20 quid up to 40 quid, and that's a really decent rucksack to get started with. You are going to want a tent as well. So as you can see here, I've gone for the 3FUL Gear Taiji 2 tonight, but there's loads of tents out there on the market ranging from sort of sub 50 quid to anywhere up to thousands of pounds. And for just getting started, I'd recommend something like this. So you want to be looking maximum, I'd say probably 150, 160 pound. You want something with a relatively small pack size that is designed to be a backpacking tent. And you want to be under or around the sort of 2 kilo mark. And double check the pack size to make sure again that it's going to fit inside the rucksack that you've got. I did a video recently discussing lots of different budget options for tents. Other people have done them as well, so I'd just recommend having a quick Google around, have a look around YouTube and see what kind of style and what kind of design takes your fancy. Now it's only going to drop to around 17 degrees tonight, so it's going to be pretty warm. So I've brought along this budget sleep mat from Amazon. This is a Lit Thing brand, but as with most things manufactured in China, it is made under loads of different brand names. So this specific one's with this name's not available anymore, but I put a link to one that is exactly the same, it's just got a different name on it in the description to the video. And these are around 26, 27 pound, I think. This has got a built-in pillow as well, so it means that you don't have to bring along or buy a pillow as well. I bought my budget Fine Money sleeping bag. Again, there's no point spending loads on insulated products when you're wild camping in the summertime. In here, I've got a power bank and my cables to charge my phone and my watch. And I've got a little head torch in there as well. And this is my hygiene kit. There's no point buying these dry bags when you're first getting started. I use them more just to keep things organized. but you can just use sandwich bags or freezer bags if you want to as well. Then in here I've got some clothes, so obviously it is going to stay mild tonight, but it will still drop. So I've got an extra t-shirt, some merino trousers and a hat in there just in case I need it. But again, there's no point spending money on like merino layers and insulated layers when you're just getting started. Just bring along a jumper, some thick jogging bottoms or something like that, just in case you need them as an extra bit of insulation, an extra bit of warmth during the night. Then for my water, I've just bought two, I think these are litre bottles. That's an 850, that's a 1 litre. I've got 2 cans of pop in here and a bag of crisps. And again with this is an insulated food pouch, and it really helps to keep things fresh and cool when you're out for a bit of a walk before you're actually going to eat your food. It's really good for steaks and chicken and stuff like that as well, especially if you put it in here frozen in the morning. It's usually ready to cook by the evening. I tend to pack this the night before, put it in the fridge so that it's nice and cool for the next day, and I keep a couple of cans of pop or beer in here just to help keep things cool. And tonight I've just bought a couple of sandwiches, I've got a bag of crisps and a king size Twix, I think, because if you're doing it, aren't you? Go king size. And that's meant that I haven't had to buy or find a stove. I haven't had to bring a gas canister or any sort of fuel. And it just makes for an easier camp. And if you're going to try camping at this sort of time of year, this is a perfect time to do it because the weather's bearable. It's great. You don't need to layer up. You're not confined to your tent for hours and hours. And I'll be quite happy later just to sit and have a few sandwiches and some snacks. I did make sure that I had a massive hot meal for lunch as well, so that always helps. And then the last few bits I've bought is a waterproof jacket. This is a cheap one from Decathlon, but as I've said, just bring whatever you've got. Just make sure you've got something that's waterproof for if and when the heavens open, and then a smidge head net, because at this time of year, although the weather's great, all the bugs and flies and stuff come out. I've got a smidge spray as well, and I've already had to use that because the flies are out in force again. This seems to work really well for me. I know some people have had mixed results with it, but it seems to do the job on whatever these flies are that are around here. So I'm going to get my mattress blown up, get everything moved into the tent, and then I'll let you have a quick look around. I just thought I'd show you what's in these dry bags in a bit more detail, because I'm conscious that I usually just point to the bag and don't really show you in detail what's in it. So my hygiene one, I've got a roll of toilet tissue, well, what was on a roll, and then I've got a little trowel thing. Now you don't need to buy one of these straight away, you can use a stick. A little bottle of hand sanitizer, that's useful as well after you've used the smidge stuff to get that off your hands before you eat. And then I've got a little travel toothbrush that just flips over like that. And then I've got a load, I don't know where I got these from, a load of little tubes of toothpaste, so I'll bring one of those as well. And then a little travel deodorant, and then I just bring a carrier bag to put all of my rubbish in. Obviously if you're new to wild camping, do look up Leave No Trace. There's a link in the description of every one of my videos that goes through the 7 principles. Essentially, anything you bring with you, take it home, don't damage anything, leave the place better than you found it, and it's all good. Then in my sort of gadgets and gizmos bag, I've got a Anker power bank. Now if you're confident that your phone's going to last you overnight, well until the next day, you might not need a power bank. I know that because I'm taking photos and using maps on my phone, it is going to need a charge overnight. So I bring one of these. It charges my watch as well and my head torch if I need to. Now I would recommend buying an Anker power bank because they're a well-known brand and they are reliable. I have bought cheaper power banks in the past from supermarkets and Amazon, and they work for a little while and then they tend to fail on you. So for me, I don't think it's worth buying anything other than an Anker power bank. Then I've got 3 little cables, one for my head torch, one for my phone, and then one for my watch. And then the head torch I've got is from Decathlon. It's a rechargeable 4-class one, and it's got white and red mode on it. It is worth looking for one with the red mode, I think, because using red light at night saves your night vision. It doesn't blind you and it doesn't startle wildlife. You can pick head torches up in places like the Range, B&M, supermarkets, again, eBay, Amazon, but I would recommend looking for one with a red mode on it, and one that you can turn straight on to red mode as well, because I have had head torches before that you have to cycle through the different white modes before you get to the red, and that's one of the things that I like about that Decathlon one. So that's me in. Moved in. Sleep mat, sleeping bag. This is obviously a rectangular bag. The zip goes all the way around, so if it does get too hot later, I can unzip it and use it kind of like a quilt. Got my rucksack down there, food, water, and then the bags with my clothing and everything else in down there. I know I keep saying it, but with all of this stuff, it is worth bearing in mind that you can find it secondhand. So look on places like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Facebook groups, things like that. Or if you know somebody who's already into wild camping, see if you can borrow a little bit of kit to try it out and give it a go. It's like being at school with the packed lunch. Individually wrapped. It's not called a king size anymore, it's a Twix Extra. King size is probably a bit too sexist, isn't it? Right, let's get these crisps murdered. I haven't had McCoys for ages, and I have no idea how none of the nutritional traffic light things are red, because these are a really fatty, thick crisp. Comment below and let me know what your favourite crisp is. Time for Cobb bread cake roll balm number 2. Tonight's tipple of choice is a sparkling low-calorie soft drink with plant extracts with sweeteners. It's 0% brewed in Uxbridge, I believe, so we'll give that a go. It's nice, that. It's really refreshing. It's not very hoppy though. So I'm just going to chill for a bit now, devour that massive Twix, because that's just how I roll. I did forget to show you this earlier as well. It's a little first aid kit. You should obviously always make sure that you've got a few supplies just in case the worst should happen. You can take bits and pieces from home. This is a cheap kit that I got, I think off eBay, but they do these in the pound shop as well. And I did add a few extra bits to this. So it comes with plasters, a bandage, a pair of scissors, and something else, I think. But I've added things like a little safety pin onto the zip, some tick removers, a foil blanket, some extra plasters, blister plasters, some paracetamol, and some water purification tablets. I have got a video on exactly what's in there, so check that out if you're interested, but do make sure that you do have some first aid supplies just in case. Hopefully you'll never have to use them. It's an interesting exercise for me just to see what gear I do actually need and see if I miss any of it overnight and in the morning. Obviously this is the best time of year to try it out, as well as the seasons change. You do need to change up your kit, especially in winter when you need more insulation, more protection from the elements and from the temperatures. But for summer, you don't need half as much. So I'm just going to chill out for a bit now. I've took my shoes and socks off to let them dry out a bit. We had some rain this morning, so all the grass is pretty much wet through. I don't think they'll take long to dry though in this heat. See, this Thai G2 tent comes with double zips on each door, so you can use these to cinch your socks into and leave them outside to dry out. And because you've got 2 doors, you can have 1 sock on each side. Hashtag camping hacks. It's meant to be a dry night, but it has forecast some rain for the morning, so it looks like we'll be packing up in the rain as well, or at least packing up with wet equipment, so that'll be fun.
Wild Camper's Diary. The aim of this podcast is for me to offer you my thoughts on the world of wild camping, reflections and insight on my own experiences.
Spitting. So that's me settling down for the night. As soon as I can get rid of this fly, I think it's between the inner and outer, but it's buzzing around and doing my head in, so I'll get rid of that, chill out for a bit, get some sleep, and then I'll catch you in the morning and we'll see if I've missed any of the gear that I didn't bring, that I missed out of the setup, and I'll run through anything that I should have bought in hindsight, because as we know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So unless anything life-threatening or game-changing happens, I'll see you in the morning. Morning. You might be able to hear it is raining outside as predicted, so I'm going to get packed up inside here as much as I can before going out. I slept quite well. This mat's really comfortable, quite thick, and it's a really decent size, so I don't roll off it or anything like that. The pillow that's built into it's quite good, but I did miss having a separate pillow. I've been looking out for a pillow that works. I've got the Trekology one that's okay, and I find that most comfortable if you don't fully inflate it and you leave a little bit of give in it and wrap it in a buff as well. That helps. I've got a Thermarest compressible pillow that I need to try out as well, so I'll bring that on my next camp and we'll see if that's any good and compare it. I'm just going to get one of these brunch bars, a bit more water, and then start slowly packing up in here. Luckily the rain's just stopped. Not sure how long it's going to be stopped for, but I'm going to try and get the tent away before it starts again. But yeah, in terms of what I missed, I think the main thing was a pillow. It is nice to have a stove as well and a warm meal, but on nights like last night it was really warm. I had my sleeping bag open all night. I didn't really get into it properly, to be honest, because it was just so warm. I didn't need those extra layers of clothes, but I think it's still worth bringing those along just in case. So as you've seen, you don't actually need that much gear to get out there and enjoy a wild camp. So what are you waiting for?
Do something today that challenges you, excites you, and makes you smile. Subscribe, or I'll snap your tent pegs.